What is up, y'all? I'm Dr. A. Gorman, physical therapist, and I am joined with a chiropractor in our community. Not many people think that we have chiropractors in our community, but I promise we do. Bobby Sanchez. Bobby is out of Body and Motion Rehab in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And you've been in our community, what, maybe like 9, 10 months now? It's been a good amount of time. And we synced up. You were running a very traditional cash practice. You were seeing clients in person. You were going the in-person continuity route. And so, man, I'm just really excited to share your story with everybody. Bobby, thanks for joining us, man. Tell me a little bit about like the business and the inception, and we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, thanks, Ray, for having me. So yeah, as you mentioned before I started working with you, I was in practice doing one-on-ones.
Yeah,
I still do one-on-ones. Um, and it was kind of like that every practitioner's dream. Like I just want to be booked out. I want to see, 6 to 10 people a day, every
yeah,
day, Monday through Friday, and to just have my schedule booked for months that way. So, which that was the trajectory it was at. It had been that way for a while.
yeah.
And then I just started noticing, which I never thought it would happen to me because I love what I do. I love working with people. I love, teaching them new things. Obviously helping them get out of pain. And I always thought to myself, well, people that are insurance, they're the ones that get burned out if you take insurance. So that'll never happen to me because
Mm,
I'm taking cash and I have more, I can treat how I want to treat and
yeah.
not be dictated by insurance and getting rejected and all that. So, but as was building and building and building and getting results and more recognition, I just started noticing that I was getting burned out pretty
Yeah.
fast. And I knew something had to change. At the time, I wasn't involved in a different coaching program, and not to name names, it did help me grow.
Yeah.
Um, but the next level after that was to grow beyond yourself. It was hire more clinicians, hire admin, hire staff, get a bigger space. And it did excite me in a little bit. I was like, okay, that's exciting to get a new space. I have this facility in my head of what it could be like. This would be great. And then I just kept thinking, man, overhead cost and everything's just going to go up.
Yeah.
And do I really want to manage uh, other people? Which that was
Yeah.
the struggle. Um, and I just realized that I didn't really want to manage other people.
You know what? You know what I find funny is the rehab spaces. I don't know if this is as much in the Cairo space as in the PT space, because I see a lot of Cairo owners that are still practicing even when they bring on associates and they scale. But a thing that I've noticed very classically in the traditional PT rehab space is we're like conditioning PTs to when you scale a business, you scale yourself out of it. And it's like
Mhm.
one of the only medical professions that I see that happen. Like I was just thinking of this the other day when, orthopedic surgeons, for example, when they start to own a practice and they start to grow it and scale it, they're still cutting, right? They're still performing surgeries. Most groups operate like that. And I just find it so interesting that like the mechanism within the cash PT, the rehab space is like you want to scale yourself out of the business. And I just find that very interesting that's the path that we're taking on, you know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've thought about that too. It's like, well, I signed up for this knowing mostly about what I was going to be doing, and I enjoy it, and I don't
Yeah.
I don't really see myself ever like retiring soon or letting go of it. Like I still
Yeah.
want to be in it, but I think yeah, it is interesting that that is kind of a push. It's almost like uh oh, I didn't expect it to be like this. I don't know where
Yeah.
that comes from. Um yeah.
Well,
Uh
you also had an interesting, what I would call like a champagne problem, but it was a really interesting problem because you were doing such a good job with your in-person clients that a lot of them were staying on for the most common continuity offer I think in cash-based businesses is, hey, whatever my lowest package rate is, you just pay me that rate monthly, $150, $189, whatever it is, and I'll see you for a once a month maintenance visit. And if I
Yeah.
remember correctly, the interesting thing that was happening for you was you had so many of those clients on your caseload that it was almost starting to cost you money of bringing new people in. Talk to me a little bit
Hmm.
about that, because like you said, you were kind of living every
Yes.
cash provider's dream situation, but then it actually kind of turned into like a nightmare for you.
Yeah. So it started to, well, financially, it started capping me out really
Yeah.
fast where I couldn't earn more money monthly, which I need to, it's like,
Yeah. You want to
uh,
grow.
yeah. And, um, you not being able to schedule new patients that were also like hurting and wanted to come in. They heard, hey, I want to come see you. I've heard good things, and not having room. I was shifting people around or coming in on or like extending my hour. Oh, I'll come in an hour earlier or
Yeah.
stay an hour later or I'll have a shorter lunch. Um, so, and I think part of that was my lowest continuity at that time was priced pretty low, where uh, I thought it was not too low. I thought it was kind of fair, but then I remember when we met, you were like, "Yeah, that might be a little low. Like that, maybe that's
Yeah.
why a lot of them are biting or sticking around that
Yeah.
long." It was nice to have that. Okay, I have my schedule full, and there's
Sure.
there's income there, but it was hard to grow much past that. And yeah, so kind of just. I think it was also part of it where I was seeing kind of the same person. We're working on, even though I like to change things up, if you work on someone once a month, at that point, you're not really tweaking too many things. And if they're not in any
Sure.
pain, it's like, okay, well, I could show you a progression or two. But okay, we still have an hour, so I'll do more manual therapy on you,
Yeah. We're
and
doing a lot of the feel good
we're doing,
stuff. And
yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
exactly. So it's like we've already hit your success, and yeah, now we're just kind of rubbing you for a little bit, and then one or two, modifications or progressions.
Yeah.
So it wasn't igniting me very much.
Which again, good problem to have, right? Champagne
Yes,
problem. Like I love solving
absolutely.
champagne problems for my clients.
Oh yeah,
But when
totally.
we were looking at the numbers, it was almost costing you, I think it was about 25 or 30% of potential because you had
Hmm.
these visits, on your schedule with these continuity clients, which great. Like we love loyal clients. We love clients that want to stick around and work with us. But I think
Yeah,
it was
totally.
costing you 40 or $50 per session in potential. And
Hmm.
so, when I was practicing, I would experience the same thing where it's like you have these clients that discharge, they don't really need like the physical therapy, chiropractic side, but I just felt this really big misalignment in wanting that client to come in because I didn't feel like that's what they needed. And so, if I remember correctly, one of the big things for you was like, how do I shift my continuity offer from being this in-person thing to being like this blended practice model option of how do I move them into um, a virtual offer prescriptive exercise program? So, talk to me a little bit about what was kind of going on in that period of time where you said you're hitting these capacities, you're kind of recognizing that the clinic isn't going to grow unless you do one of two things: raise your rates or hire people. Like, talk me through kind of that phase of the business.
Yeah, so I think, and around that time is when I started seeing videos from you posting on Instagram or YouTube
Yeah,
talking about the blended practice model, and having the prescriptive exercise where it's an online remote offer.
yeah,
So I was just, just you'd be parked in front of a shopping mall, watch, turn it on and watch it, and be like, oh, that's interesting. And then,
yeah, yeah,
I wonder if that could actually work, or, because yeah, I think it's like we all visualize that getting to that busyness, and then just for me, I just knew I didn't want to hire anybody. Like I had done that before, and kind of been there, done that. I just didn't want to manage
yeah,
people. I also like for my situation, like I'm pretty much a single father in a
Yeah.
sense. So like I have to like provide, like, and we all
Yeah.
have to provide, of course, but taking on, another space that's double, triple the size for probably double or triple the rent and overhead, and then
Yeah.
having to hire other doctors because I wanted to be able to pay those other doctors well because
Yeah.
when I got out of Cairo school, it was kind of the, oh yeah, you get hired, but they're going to work you to death, and you're going to
Volume,
be volume,
as
high volume.
associate, right? Put in your
Yep.
reps, do your time, and then you'll make good money.
And I did a little
Yeah.
bit of that. We all had like a side hustle getting our own business going. So I did a
Yeah.
little bit of that working at a practice where I saw over 70 patients in one day. And it
Yeah.
was mostly adjusting them, grade five manipulation, no history, no
Yeah.
exam. I knew
Yeah.
I didn't want to practice that way. I'd always been in the strength and conditioning world. So, and one of my mentors was always like, well, you should find a way to blend that in, your strength knowledge with, now helping people get out of pain. Um, and I thought it was the 1 hour one-on-one in
Right.
person. We have more time. We're in a gym. If you need some body work to calm everything down, great, we could do that. And then we get you moving for the rest of the time. It now starts to look like a workout than a physical
Yeah.
therapy session. And that was doing great. I was loving it because I wasn't just in the treatment room and, doing the same manual therapy. I was able to use my brain in a different way. So it was like a high for a while until I started to like just again, like I hit that ceiling of, well, if I'm gonna make around the same amount per month, I have to see X amount of new patients, which I didn't
Yeah.
have room in my schedule. And also the thing that was frustrating, having the schedule so full with continuity offers, they were getting charged on the first once a month, and then I found the frustration of, oh, they didn't want to reschedule, or, oh, they can't make it. Where do I fit them in? I had nowhere to fit them
Mm.
in. So I started
Yeah.
carrying over some of theirs the next month, which just kind of messed up my financial records a bit. I had to like do
Yeah.
more admin
Operationally,
stuff.
it became kind of
It
weird
just
with
it became a
just,
headache.
yeah.
And I started blocking off my schedule to people to book online, and only opening up for new patients. And then I would have some of my return patients book as a new
Oh
patient. They just
God.
would they would just
They're
cancel
like,
their,
I'll figure out how to get in there.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man.
I'll figure out how to get on your schedule, Bobby. Don't
So
you worry about it.
so it became an administrative
Yeah.
headache in a way because then I
Yeah.
have to figure out, okay, how do I make it up to, or okay, cool, well, I'll refund you or I'll just credit you. It just became more things to manage, without even managing people.
Well,
So,
I'm glad you circled back to that because I think that that is like a huge, core tenet within our community. And something that I talk to people a lot about within our community is, look, my goal is to help you build the business that you want to build. And
hmm
most of our providers are solo practitioners. Sometimes they have a part-time VA or, an admin, whatever you want to call it. But most of our providers are really wanting to run um, low overhead, high margin businesses where you don't need to worry about acquisition to fill somebody else's schedule, to fill somebody else's caseload, to make sure that you can provide not only for you, but for them within your business. Because the last thing that
hmm
you want to do is bring somebody on and then volume is really slow. Like, this is why I found a lot of the job offers in cash-based businesses, like the reason why they have such a hard time hiring is because the ramp up time of the volume generally sucks. It's like, oh,
hmm
we'll bring you on for like 5 hours to start. And then it's like, well, what is that person supposed to do for the
right.
rest of their
Yeah,
income? We don't have the same pipeline volume like you do in
exactly.
a traditional insurance-based clinic, right?
Right.
And the other thing that you said is if you don't want to manage people, like you don't have to. If you
Right.
just want to be the provider, again, we
hmm
went to school not to we didn't go to business management school and people management school. We went to
Right.
school to do the thing that we ultimately wanted to do, which was practice rehab. And I think
Hmm.
some people are going into the bro scaling the business route out of ego rather out of like this is what I actually want to do. So
Yeah,
I just find
totally.
that's interesting.
Yeah, no, and I think you know, having that, it's like, okay, well, I could be solo and just be one-on-one and then be happy with where I cap. Like
Yeah,
there was actually like a time where I was like, okay, I guess I just have to get comfortable and
with the
manage my
cap.
money different and stuff. But then I was also just, it was kind of, I think just as much as we are helping others physically, we also help them emotionally and mentally. And I don't think we recognize how much of that burden we take on. Not, I don't say a burden like it's a bad thing, but we take on
It's a heavy weight.
those
Yeah, we absorb
emotions.
it. Yeah,
And if you see 8 people, 10 people a day, 5 days a week, that's a lot of like emotions just dumped on us
yeah.
that we have to figure out how to, and that drains us too, I
Hard
think. And even,
hard to go home
yeah.
and show up for your family after a day like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Because it's not just, oh, let me work on you and get you out of pain. It's we're hearing, and it's great. I love it. Like, I love hearing all my patients' stories. I love connecting with them. I've had some where I consider friends now,
yeah,
because I've been seeing them for years. Um, but even then, it's kind of like it's a lot of different personalities that you
yeah.
are one on one with in a day. Um,
It's the part of the job that not a lot of people talk about, but that you learn about very quickly,
mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Um, Talk to me a little bit about, the business was operating very traditionally from a cash-based setting. Talk to me a little bit about like what were some of the changes that you made and what kind of implementing the virtual offer did for the business, what it did for your schedule. What kind of happened operationally as we worked together over that initial, 6-month block?
Yeah, so it was an adjustment, of course,
Yeah.
because whenever you implement change, it's not only adjustment for myself, but for my current patients and clients.
Yeah.
So I think it was exciting in the sense of like, oh wow, I see potential here. I see like there's another way. There's a way where I can still provide the care I want to, free up my time a little bit and
Hmm.
still make, if not the same amount of money per month, possibly more.
Yeah.
Um, so I think at first I was very gung ho, like I just wanted to move everybody to like
Yeah.
online. I didn't want to see
One
anybody
end
in
of
per.
the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum.
I was that burned out. Like I was so burned out,
Yeah.
and um uh so but then I was like, okay, slow down, hold on. Like,
Yeah.
my partner, my girlfriend's like, no, people still want to see you in person though. They like
Yeah.
you. I'm like, I know
Yeah.
they like me. I was like, but I'm tired. So,
Yeah.
and so there was that shift, getting used to that. I think, you know, phrasing it or explaining it. I watched a lot of, the videos that you provide, over and over again, listen to them,
Yeah.
practice saying things, read things like, how do
Went through the
I,
scripts.
yeah, how do
Yeah.
I convey the message
Yeah.
that they're going to actually get more value because they are, and they're also going to save time because they don't have to go to another appointment
Yep.
once a week, twice a week
Yep.
for every week. And they're still getting, everything I can give them. So that took some time. I think the first few months were a little terrifying. I was kind of like, oh wow, like my numbers dropped, like my financial numbers did drop,
Yeah.
but my time also freed up like immensely. So I was in a
Yeah.
state I was kind of not, I was like happy. I was like, this is time. And I think I used actually those first couple of months where the time where I wasn't seeing
Yeah.
patients in person, I was just doing nothing. It was like a vacation
You're
in
like
a
you're
way.
like let me get my nervous system from a 10 back to a
Yes.
2 before I ramp up. And
Yeah.
so basically, and this is very common when you go through a change in business, right? It's almost like
Hmm.
the dip before the rally because operationally, you've broken what has always worked. And
Hmm.
so there's this period of time where this figuring it out period where you kind of have to go through the messy middle of change to come out on the other side where things are better, where things are improved. And I'm
Hmm.
glad that you brought that up because that is a reality of going through this, right? It's when I come in and help somebody, we want to make sure that there's not this crazy overhaul of the business where the business goes into like a tough spot. But sometimes in order for you to effectively implement the blended practice model, you need to give yourself not just time, but you've got to give yourself the energy to reinvest in the business to then say, all right, this is how it's going to operate now. And you've been somebody that, we won't talk specifics, but you've been somebody that over the course of the time working together, you've gone from working significantly less to making significantly more. And so there's
Hmm.
kind of proof in that pudding. But anything that you want to add there?
Yeah, I think after I gave myself that little break, downtime, it might have been a couple of months, maybe two, three, maybe four. I don't know what to say,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I mean, I was still doing stuff, and I
yeah,
was transitioning people to PEP, so I was doing those, but I was kind of doing the bare minimum. I wasn't really thinking of how to like expand it more.
grow and scale. Yep.
Yeah, but I think then I started to kind of change my offer, tweak my offer. How can I word this so I can kind of get almost that continuity and get that longer term patient, which a lot of them do need,
Yeah.
longer than a month. Some of them need 3 to 6 months.
Yep.
Um, so once I started figuring that out and getting people on a 3 month or a 6 month plan, um, then I started seeing that recurring monthly revenue go up and
Yeah.
steady state to where it was. And still, like you said, I like started just freeing up my time in person. So I was able to be more available for my son than I
Yeah.
ever have been, which is great because even if he's at school, kids still get sick, still got
Yeah.
doctor appointments. So I had those are periods where I would have to shift people on my schedule and move them, which was also another
Yeah.
messy nuance of like, oh, he's sick, let me cancel everybody and reschedule them.
And then
Where
that
if I
costs you money.
cost money and it costs time because
Yeah.
I'm doing it at home while he's sick. I'm on the phone, I'm messaging
Yeah.
people. More people have my number than I want at that point because that's like fastest ways to get a hold of somebody is a text message these days.
Yes. Yes.
And I don't want everyone to have my number. And then it became a like, wow, this is great to have this flexibility of like, if he's sick or if something or man, the kid just never goes to school. They just don't have school these days anymore like they
Yeah.
used to.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he's got a day off. Okay, well, I don't have any clients that day in person, so I can be there for him. Like that
Yeah.
is just such a huge stress relief. And I know we brought it up, but like this last weekend, he had a 4-day weekend, which I didn't really know. And then but I already had it the Friday off.
Yeah.
And I did all my PEPs, I did all the work before, so I could just be with him on Friday and not have to worry
Yeah.
about working while he's around. Um, I
That's
don't know if that
awesome.
answered your question. I might have gotten off track a little bit, but
No, I think it's good because it like the goal of this business model, right? The thing that I'm always talking about and something that's important to me, right? I'm a new dad. My daughter is 6.5 months old and I want flexibility, I want freedom. And so it's
Mm,
not it's very common that we attract people who are in that same phase where it's like, well, look, like I don't want to work a 40-hour week. And it's not because I don't want to work. It's because I
hmm.
think there are more efficient ways to make the same amount of money as doing work the old way, right? Like we
Right.
the rehab space right now, it's finally catching up, but we have the opportunity to be so efficient
Hmm.
and to, for the first time, actually like work from home as rehab providers, still
Yeah.
doing the things that we want to do, writing programs, helping clients get out of pain, managing their strength and conditioning, keeping in touch with them. we have the for the first time we have a way to actually work with clients in with that mechanism, and we're just starting to catch on to that as a profession. So when I talk about make more money in less time, that's what
Hmm.
I mean. Because when
Yeah.
we started working together, how many in-person clinical hours were you doing at that point?
Oh gosh. Well, I think my average daily was about 7 to 8 in a day, and I was going 4 to 5 days a week.
Okay,
So
so you're at like,
what is
let's
that?
call it 35, 40 patient hours
Yeah,
per week. What are
just
you
about
at now?
anywhere low end, like probably 10 to 12, high end around
Yeah.
16. So that's
That's a
huge.
massive shift, right? So we're talking about, 20 to 30% of the workload that you were doing in person. And, we won't get into specifics, but revenue has increased, right? You said you just
Hmm.
came off a record month, which
Yeah.
means your effective hourly rate, which used to be capped at, whatever your highest session was, let's call it
Hmm.
220. I don't remember what your number
Yeah.
was, but whatever that number is, that's where you were capped. And now you have the potential to make double, maybe even triple that in some cases,
Yeah, pretty
which is
much.
crazy with the PEP.
Yeah. Well, and also too, I think the thing that the PEP does of working with clients remotely is I think, yes, absolutely. There's people do need that in-person instruction. Not everybody, but a lot of
Sure.
people do because they don't have the awareness of their body or what they're doing, or I'm
Yeah.
not sure if that's right. So, but over time, as we work with them more, well, then I'm just kind of
You're
counting
teaching them.
reps and yeah, I'm just kind of keeping them, okay, let's do this one next. Okay, let's go to this exercise next. Okay, and okay, that's 10 reps. Let's take a break.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't really need to be there to do that. Like I could
Yeah.
do that. I could be more effective if I program it for you. And then I just make the changes each week or a few after a few days. If I'm just organizing the structure and helping you have a really nice program that doesn't feel so like there's so much volume and we're getting
Yeah.
a lot done and you're able to get a great workout rehab session within 20 to 40 minutes and not spend hours doing it.
Well, I'm glad you touched on that because one of the things that I noticed when I was practicing as a physical therapist was exactly that. I
Hmm.
knew clients still needed access to me. I knew that they still needed programming from me, but it felt like such a mismatch of bringing them in person to do those things. And I remember like I was frustrated. I was like, "Man, this
Hmm.
session is really valuable, but like it
Right.
could have been an email." Because
Yes.
it's just making sure that you're doing the right dose of things, which is, in my opinion, the most valuable part of the process. Like when people say they have difficulty putting clients on remote offers, I'm like, you might have a belief problem in what your remote offer is, because for me, that's like the why wouldn't you want to be on this? This is going to be the thing
Hmm.
that gets you the lasting result that you said you weren't able to get from other providers in the past. Like, I just have such a high level of conviction on that. And it's
Right.
not that in person isn't valuable. It's not that online is better than in person. It's that at some point in the journey, the amount of hand holding that we need to do, the amount of supervision that we need to do, it starts to decrease and there starts to become a mismatch in the
Hmm.
client paying 200 plus dollars an hour to just, come in and do a training session that they could do under my guidance for $300 a month, right?
Right. Well, and I think
So
too for the client, it also gives them that idea. Well, it's almost they're paying less in a way too, because if there were some clients I was seeing at 200 an hour
yeah,
4 times a month,
yeah,
you know,
800
now
bucks a month
they're
right there.
yeah, now they're paying, 300, 350 for me all month.
Yep. Yeah,
And
exactly.
they can message me whenever they want. And I do have allocated times where I check that, but
Yeah.
it's still like they don't have to wait to hear from me. They
Yeah.
get a response within a day or two. Um,
And you've probably seen better outcomes, long-term outcomes since implementing the prescriptive
Hmm.
exercise program, the remote offer as well.
Yeah, I think I see faster outcomes from new patients. They get
Yeah.
to where they want to get faster, and they have a deeper understanding of how their program works, and they have
Yeah.
more, I would almost call it uh almost like an artistic knowledge of how to manage a healthy lifestyle
Self-regulate
because
everything and integrate
yeah,
everything, which is
because
something that we teach and talk about within the blended practice model. We're not just talking about the online offer. We're
hmm
talking about how do you bring everything from the client experience in and help them make better decisions that are maybe
hmm
affecting their pain or their function that they didn't even know of, right?
right, yeah, absolutely.
What's what do you think has been like the most unique thing about working together, and what do you feel like life is like now that the blended practice model is a reality for Bobby and how you practice and how it integrates in your life with your family?
Yeah, I think the the most unique thing is obviously offering the remote PEP,
Yeah.
prescriptive exercise program where I'm saying, hey, like, and I'll show clients the program. I'll just give them like, here, this is what it is, and I'll show them like I'll just show here's the video, you
This is
know,
how it looks. Yeah.
this is how it looks. I kind of show them on my computer, this is my view, but you'll be on an app, so it'll be different. And everyone's like, oh wow, that's really cool. I've never, because they're used to getting a piece of paper with
Right.
three or four exercises. I have actually, it's freed up my time in the way that I can be um, productive on the business and other categories. So
Yeah.
for me, I really am nitpicky. Like I use a lot of the videos that are on the exercise platform,
Yeah.
but sometimes I look at the video, I'm like, or I want an explanation. So I'll
Yeah.
just, since I have more time, I just shoot a video of me and then I go back and I just re-edit it with a voiceover of instruction. So then I
Yep.
feel like it's also coming to, not that everybody has to do that because they could still get a lot. I didn't start that way. I think when I first started, I used mostly their videos.
It's a good progression of the process for sure.
Yeah, but as
Yeah.
time freed up, I had more time. I just started shooting more and more and more because I was like, well, I want to say it a specific way, or I want to
Yep.
make sure, or I want to show a modification that they're not showing.
Yep.
So I think that's been really unique. I think the diversity of like, I am at home more. I am busy now. Like I took those first, like I said, a couple months of just relaxation, but now
Yeah.
I kind of get to pick and choose where now it's like
Yeah.
I'm working on other things. I'm trying to just grow in different ways, but I'm also still enjoying the time I have, whether it's getting stuff done around the house or taking a nap, getting more exercise in,
Yeah.
uh,
Taking
being
care of
with being
yourself.
being with my partner more, playing with my
Yeah.
kid more. It's really freed up that time, or I could just be productive in other ways. So that way, when the weekend comes, I don't have to stress about any
Yeah.
work or getting X, Y, and Z done. Um, so that's been amazing. And I think, and I talked to you about this a couple weeks ago, is for the first time since ever, I opened up my business 10 years ago. And the first time in 10 years since I've been a business owner, I've been able now just recently take a full vacation and not stress about rescheduling people, getting people on the books,
Yeah.
stressed about, oh, if I don't see them, I'm not making money.
Yeah.
Because the finances are just there. It's allocated. It's already in the bank, and
And
that's huge.
and there's now a steady stream of recurring revenue coming in that
Yes.
isn't tied to time. Like
Yes, it's not tied. Yes.
this is the biggest thing for people is we have
Hmm.
to get away from it's just about recurring revenue. No, no, no. It's about recurring revenue that is tied to flexible deliverables, right?
Right.
Not something that ties you to a schedule. And
I think, yeah, I think in a way it's like our way of a business owner of having PTO, right?
yeah,
Because we don't get PTO when you own a business. Well, in our business, in our profession, like you said, it's that in-person time that we have to give in order to get
yep,
paid.
yep.
Um, and we don't make a salary in annual, or it's like whether I do 20 hours of work that week or 60 hours of work that week, I make the same
Yep.
money. That's not how it
Yeah.
works. And I think a lot of people, other than people in here, just don't recognize that. So
Yeah.
it can be frustrating too on the family or friends when, one of my friends was like, well, and this was before you and I started working together. He was like, well, you own your own business. You could do whatever you want. You could take time off. I'm like, yeah, but
Yeah.
if I take time off, I lose income. I have
It
to
costs
be,
twice as much.
it costs more money. I have to be strategic of when I take time off. For
Yeah.
now, I don't have to be as strategic in taking time off. I can just take it off and enjoy
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. You can be
So
way
yeah,
more flexible.
yes.
I've talked about this a lot, and I mentioned this a lot, but really like the goal for us is helping people get freedom and flexibility back into their lives.
Hmm.
And the unfortunate part, I think, about the rehab profession is what I see a lot of when rehab professionals burn out, they're leaving the clinical setting. And
Hmm.
we need a model that keeps great providers providing care. And that is really what one of the missions of Engage Movement is. That is one of the core tenets of what the blended practice model can provide, is to make
Hmm.
sure that we provide a model for great providers who don't just want to go online. They still love that in-person piece. They just
Hmm.
need something that provides a little bit more flexibility within the business.
Totally.
Um, well, as we kind of wrap here, what would be your parting words for somebody that is like on the fence, maybe thinking about implementing a virtual offer within their business, maybe thinking about investing in coaching? What's some parting words that you'd kind of leave for them as we put a bow on this?
Yeah. I wish I would have started this 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think, I think in a way, like COVID was kind of the tipping point
A big
for,
catalyst for people.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and I recognized it during that period, and I was like, that's, yeah, I should think of something like that. But then we got back to regular life, and then
Yeah.
everybody just craved the in person after being disconnected in person for so long. So it was kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, no, this will never, in person's always the way to go. But now I'm like, no, I don't think it is. I think, yes, like you said, having the flexibility, like I couldn't be just on the computer all day, every day. I
Sure.
think we're in this profession because we enjoy movement, we enjoy physical activity, we like helping
Yeah.
other people be active, but having the different schedules and the days also keeps it fresh. Like it's not the same repetitive um drive to the office, be there,
Yeah.
leave. So yeah,
Yeah.
I would say for someone who's on the fence, like jump in because and I understand it can be scary. It was scary for me because it is change, but you either keep doing what you're doing and have to eventually just be comfortable with that or just not accept it and say no, there has to be another way.
Yeah.
And again, I
The
wish I would have started it earlier.
the beautiful thing about it, and this will be kind of the last point I make, but when you have the flexibility in your business, if you want a season of heavy in person, you just
Hmm.
structure your operations to be a season of heavy in person. And if you want a season of heavy online, you just structure your business for a season of heavy online. And you get to kind of move back and forth along the spectrum, right? When things ramp up in your son's life and you're like, hey, that means I'm not going to be in the clinic as much. We can just bias the model to being more virtual, more remote. But when things are settled down and maybe he's, in school doing all these things, that's when you get to ramp up all the in-person side. And so I just want people to know that like a model out there exists where you can literally build whatever blend you want. It does not have to be the blend that Bobby chooses. It does not have to be the blend that I choose. We want it to be the blend that you choose. So, Bobby, man, thank you so much for coming on, sharing your story. If people do have questions, where's the best place to like connect with you and find you?
People can Instagram me. It's see, that's the thing I'm not on.
You're
I need to
you're
be better
you're
on
like, what
social.
is my Instagram? I think yours
I
is
know.
just
I'm like,
body and
look,
body
I
in
think it's
motion
body in
rehab.
motion. Yeah, it's exactly, yeah, body in motion rehab. DM me there.
Cool.
My email is bobby@bodyandmotionrehab.com. So that's
Perfect.
pretty easy. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's been great having you in the community. It's been great seeing you be an awesome implementer and role model for change because I can provide all the structure and all the coaching in the world, but I can't do the work for you. And so I applaud you for being an excellent implementer. I applaud you for thinking like a chemist and just experimenting within your business and taking chances and taking risks. And yeah, man, I'm just so stoked for, what it's provided for you and your son and the time that you get to spend with him and your girlfriend. So yeah, thank you,
No,
man.
thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, Ray.